that we are just looking for the Raise Your Edge logo. I can't. Is it RYE?
RYE.
On Wikipedia?
I'm pretty sure it's just an R. But it might be RYE. I don't really remember. No, search Raise Your Edge.
Okay.
There you have it. And speaking of raising your edge, here we have it in our second semifinals of the evening. We are going to be spawning onto Everdream LE. LE, of course, standing for Lightning Egg. In the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, looking to prevent that PvP finals. We have the Blues all the way from the land of Canada, now in the land of Korea. Going to be playing for Brave Star Gaming. She's taken out this opponent once before in the Pro Open Cup. Now, can she do it again? Seems likely, as we do see a pool first. It is gonna be Scarlett.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Korean Protoss player representing Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is Zest. And
Scarlett?
She's doing it again. She's
Yeah,
doing it
she
again.
is.
So, for anyone who hasn't seen the most recent weeks of GSL, Scarlett actually did this against Deer in her group and actually won the series.
Yeah, indeed she did.
He's checking.
Not sure how he
sees it. He knows. Wow.
All right. How's he gonna defend against this?
So
now this is. Yeah, go ahead.
This is the problem. I was gonna say this is the problem with coming out with these unique, quirky builds on a stage like GSL is that everyone has their eyes on you and everyone is watching. And I am sure that Zest saw that game, so we'll be able to see how a top Protoss can respond and hold against this once they've scattered it so early.
Well, you didn't say how it. All right.
What?
Because you were like, how a Korean? Oh, wait, Deer is Korean as well.
No, I went from Korean to pro because, you know, like foreigners are out there as well. You know, like, didn't want to just say Koreans were the best ones. I wanted to include foreigners in there as well.
Ah, okay. Because I thought you were throwing shade at Deer.
I was trying to be inclusive.
Right, okay. Yeah. But then again, Deer also did scout that, so. The main emphasis is on how the reaction when it's scouted will be like, and Zest trying to put on a little bit of pressure with a single stalker, but now the roaches are about to pop.
Yes, so we were actually talking about this earlier on today. I believe it was June who did it. I'm not too sure. But now that Scarlett has the rich gases, she can morph her roaches into Ravagers to try and bile down the defensive structures of Zest. So these cannons are just here to
It's just one pylon.
Yeah, oh my god, there is just one. Okay, we have the second pylon.
Here's a backup pylon.
Yeah, it is a little bit exposed though.
Yeah, it is, but it will tank a couple of shots. We do see another pylon behind that in a much safer location. And Zest, he is being active. He is not just hiding behind a wall. He wants to make sure that Scarlett cannot even touch the wall. So we'll see how well he can micro this. So many pylons here. Zest is going to be safe for quite a while.
Yeah, so far so good. The transfuses have to be on point. Has to make sure she doesn't lose very many Ravagers. One goes down. The Queen is solo. Queen goes down as well. And so far, Zest is looking pretty good.
Yeah, Scarlett not going to be able to commit to this push, but now the creep is already on Zest's side of the map.
Yeah.
If Scarlett can just get the contain up, that would probably be good enough, I would say.
Yeah, right now, Scarlett is breaking down those rocks, trying to make sure that sentries don't come into play too much if she tries to push up the ramp. And we'll see, as you know, she's not droning up behind this, she's making more and more roaches, more and more ravagers as well, which will mean that she'll be able to take down those pylons, cannons, and shield batteries much faster.
Oh, I'm not sure if that's the right call here. You know, Zest, he's not really an agent of shield, but he's trying to get some membership there. A lot of cannons and a lot of shield batteries.
Yeah, indeed there are. So she just keeps making more cannons, more shield batteries, more pylons, and I love this. Like, this is, again,
this is how you can tell that Zest isn't.
Yeah, well, this is how you can tell that Zest, he's seen the game, and this is what he's come up with as a response to deal with this push. We'll see if it's good enough, though.
Oh, here's a choke point. Here's a choke point. What's avoid the biles? One shield battery already going down. And yeah, you can kind of see that this isn't the most efficient building placement from Zest. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, more and more buildings are coming down as well to support his stalkers. More stalkers coming down as well. The biles aren't really landing, just kind of forcing Zest back.
But at the same time, as long as Scarlett isn't able to break into Zest's natural, then Zest is the one with the advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
He's the one that's still mining. He's the one who can still produce workers.
Scarlett has to be so careful. That rich Vespene gas is so low, but Scarlett, she's pushing in. She's pushing forward.
And this is such a choke point here for Zest. If he's not careful, a couple of biles will delete the Stalker army.
Yeah.
And the biles, they're doing a real good job of zoning so far.
That's the thing with biles, is that it doesn't matter if he has shield batteries. Biles deal so much damage, and Zest is losing a lot of
trying
stalkers.
To go for a bit of a flank. He's losing the Stalkers left and right, trying to get a couple more gateways here. And the shield batteries are out. The cannons are gonna have to be what Zest falls back to. But if these gateways can finish, he will have a lot more reinforcement capabilities up. Shield batteries are starting to get really low. Yeah. A lot of biles landing on the cannons.
Well, the problem is that a lot of Ravagers have actually died as well, so the count is a lot lower. But is there enough for Scarlett? She's trying to push through, and Zealot, the Stalkers don't have a lot.
Focusing fire. She's focusing fire. The Stalkers are gone. Only a handful left. Trying to get this queen, but exposing the Stalkers so much. I can't tell who's quite winning here.
I think Scarlett's done it.
Scarlett's still making gets.
She just has so much momentum right now, and more Ravagers and Roaches are coming, and Lings as well.
Zest is running out of gas.
Yeah.
He'd only produce very soon. The only thing that Zest will be able to produce is going to be Zealots. Without charge.
And Zest, he has a bunch of minerals and gas, but he just doesn't have the production to continue to pump units out. And I think Scarlett
might have just done it. Maybe the Roaches are doing a good job of tanking. There aren't any cannons left for Zest. And I think Scarlett has done
Everything's depowered.
Everything depowered. There we go. GG is called. And there we have it. Despite scouting it, despite reacting to it, Zest just left his stalkers way too vulnerable multiple times. And Scarlett takes game one.
Yeah, you could definitely see that Zest, he was looking pretty good. He had a lot of stalkers to begin with. He had a nice defensive position with all of his structures, but Scarlett, she was just biding her time, getting more and more Ravagers, getting to the point where she felt like she was confident enough to push in and start engaging with the main army of Zest, and she just overran him. It was just too much. His production just couldn't keep up. I think he was definitely lacking gateways.
That indeed he was. He did try to get two more right towards the end there, but for so long, Zest was just so reliant on his cannons, and I guess it kind of shows how confident or how unconfident Zest is in certain areas of his play, particularly in this case his micro, because he just really stacked on that static defense, which I'm looking at the SimCity now on Streamlight, and yeah, that definitely does not look like the most efficient placements.
Yeah, I feel like he definitely had the right idea. But as we saw, once he started losing a couple of stalkers, he just couldn't reproduce them fast enough. So it was like a snowball effect where a couple of stalkers went down, then a couple more went down, and his count just went lower and lower as Scarlett just kept reinforcing, and her count was higher and higher. So yeah, just it felt like he just needed a little bit more production because he had the economy, like he had the income.
Yeah. I kind of feel like he might have also been a little bit too afraid of the Biles there, because I think Stalkers do trade better one-on-one versus Ravagers, and there was that opportunity, but the main thing about Biles, the zoning potential, it is absolutely insane. So definitely. Good on Scarlett for utilizing that. And speaking of which, here we have it on a new map. We are going to be on Simulac Rom, Yaha Fiddle LE by the Sea. You with me, buddy? Asking if there's any lag problems here. Where in the bottom right-hand corner map, spotting in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, it is going to be a Blues. Going to be utilizing that build very effectively versus Zest in game number 1. Let's see what she's got for us here going into game number 2. Looking to prevent that PvP finals. Here comes that pool light. She is representing Brave Star Gaming, BSG, all the way from the land of Canada, now in the land of Korea. We have Scarlett.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Simulacrum LE, as I did accidentally have Scarlett as a Protoss in casting tool. We have spawning in the top left-hand corner of Simulacrum LE. It is the Korean Protoss representing Raise Your Edge Gaming. It is Zest.
And there's that pool light.
There's
that hatch.
Yeah, Zest did go for a probe scout, so he should recognize the opener that is coming his way. And we'll see if he's able to adjust accordingly and make sure he has a wall for the oncoming lings. But yeah, like Scarlett, I think there were a couple of people saying like, Scarlett is going for more cheesy play nowadays, more like, as opposed to straight up macro games that at least in the past she used to be known for. And she has been pretty vocal about this matchup where she isn't very confident in her macro play against the best Protosses, against players like Deer, like Zest, like Stats. But that's kind of why she like devised these like strategies and these builds with Jake, and I mean they worked out for her in GSL at least, and we'll see how she does here in a weekly cup in ESL Open Cup, as she does seem to be going for more of a macro style this game.
Yeah, definitely going for that. Well, I say quick 3 hatch, but considering it was a pool first, it's relatively quick.
Yeah.
I think she's identified that Zest knows that she went for a pool first. She knows that Zest will be prepping the defenses. So just going to transition out of that.
Yeah, honestly, based on her opener, it looked like it was more of a defensive pool, not really an aggressive one. Maybe afraid that there was a proxy or some kind of aggression coming out from Zest, just playing it a little bit safe and taking a third behind it. The downside to this is that your gases are a little bit later, which means link speed is a little bit later, so it could be a little bit more difficult to defend against adepts, but we'll see. We'll see how she does.
Well, thankfully, in this case anyway, Zest is not going for the build that won him, what was it, a couple of $100,000, a couple of tens of thousands of dollars. But we'll be going for that Stargate play this time, getting the Oracle out. Zest being a little bit hesitant to shade out his adepts, I think mostly just trying to see if Scarlett has any units on his side of the map. The Oracle comes in, right into the face of Queen and a Spore, and the Oracle goes out. Can't explain that.
Yeah, nicely done there by Scarlett. Was able to defend brilliantly against the Oracle. And as this happens, the Overlord does go into the main base of Zest, does scout exactly what he has gone for, obviously confirms that there is a Stargate. So yeah, she has all the scouting information that she needs as she continues on in this game. We'll see if these oracles manage to get more damage done, since now there are 2 together. Maybe we can see a couple of stasis wards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also definitely possible with 2 oracles rather than just 1 to have one as a to tank a couple of shots while the other one gets the work done. But you know, Zest just coming in here, finding an angle, will just get as many drones as he can. Does actually get those oracles away, and should be it. Yep, there's that recall.
There is that recall.
But one does go down. Second one also going very, very low. As Zest's going to be transitioning out of this. We've seen this quite a number of times in ZvP, where typically the Protoss player will go for a Oracle opener, but then later on, as Zest is doing, transition into more robo-based play.
Yeah, we do have quite a number of lings out on the map. It looked like Scarlett was trying to, she's trying to confirm where the third base location is. Confirms that it's here on the right side as opposed to the more regular southern base. Bit of an odd choice there. As the Oracle, it's so close. Outside the third base, almost went down to Queens.
Literally 1 health.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, some nice control there by Zest, is able to keep his Oracle alive.
It's gonna get caught by the Zerglings. No, I'm just kidding.
The Zerglings, they're gonna get it. You can jump up.
Just jump. Anyway, we see both of our players transitioning out of this. The Scarlett with the Lair and the Baneling Nest, so gonna be playing a bit of a more standard Ling Bane, whereas Zest, I smell a Soul Train.
Yeah, we do have Twilight Council on the way. A bunch of Immortals have been made. Scarlett opting to go for Hydralisk then, which is more of a standard style. Hydra Ling Bane against Protoss. We'll see if she sticks with that or if she transitions into Lurkers at some point.
Yeah, I think it's probably just for quick Lurkers. I mean, Hydras, they're not the worst unit you can have in the CVP, but there's definitely a reason why a lot of ZvPs you see the Zerg player opting for roaches or the Lurkers.
There are definitely different styles of play, and we do see Scarlett opting for Hydra upgrades and making more.
All right.
Yeah, making more Hydras, and this can hit very strong. You can hit a timing with this, but this isn't a composition that you want to stay on for too long. You can obviously like transition and get Vipers out as well to help support this, but at the moment it's just Ling Bane Hydra. We'll see if she's able to get something done with this, as Storm has just started for Zest, and good storms can completely shut this style down.
It absolutely can. Throw in a couple of stasis wards, get a gateway wall up, and you're definitely even more safe there. But we'll see who's able to hit their timing first. Oh, where's Jet?
Shout out to Jet in the chat. We do have a Spire on the way for Scarlett, which I do love. We'll see if it is for a little bit of a Muta transition or just for maybe eventually Broodlords. We shall see. As Scarlett, you know, her creep spread has always been impeccable. It is already past the halfway point, and she's getting a 4th base. 5th base even.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like the question you got to be asking here is, would you get Mutas when you already have Hydras out? And if the answer is yes, then we can kind of expect what Scarlett's going to go for.
Yeah, like, especially when it comes to the army composition of Zest, he doesn't really have very much anti-air. He doesn't have any Archons. Like, his High Templar are just for storms, so you can dive in and snipe some high-tech units with your Mutalisks, or, you know, you could just use them for harass. We'll see.
It's such an ambitious move up by Zest. I'm not convinced that he has nearly enough units, but it seems like it's more here to clear creep. You gotta be very careful, Zest.
Yeah.
Don't want to get surrounded by those lings.
He's dancing with the devil right now. You don't want to get too far in on creep, especially with an army that small, as we do finally have a couple of Archons being made, which would tank quite nicely.
Literally one.
Yeah, just one. Could use a little bit more there, Zest.
So you need Mutalisks are out. Hello.
There we go. Mutalisks. And again, they can do really well at sniping High Templar or just diving into mineral lines. And we'll see, like, because this creep spread is so good, like, it's gonna take so long for Zest to finally push out. Like, he's stuck on the edge.
Yeah, I feel like at this point you might even just want to use the Mutalisks to harass, as we do see a bit of a run by coming in here. This is not where Zest set up the gateway wall, but we'll be able to clear those lings out. Losing a lot of energy on that Oracle, but that's you're not really going to be using the Oracle for much at this point.
Yeah, well, some of the queens being
So
caught out of position there a little bit. Yeah, there are so many storms here with this army, and that's a terrifying thing. Those storms can completely annihilate the Ling Bane Hydra of Scarlett. She does have to be careful. The Immortal's getting caught out, though, to the north.
Yeah, they will look at these storms, and they do manage to get all of the Banelings there.
Yeah.
Very nice force fields behind that, but the Scarlet have just too much here for Zest to deal with, being forced to storm his own army even. But there's just so much energy on these Templar and these Banelings. You know, they're not really getting the connections that they want. It's just Archons left, and Scarlet, she's about to remax. And actually, Zest does not look like he has a lot of momentum.
Yeah, the Mutalisks were across the map. They were able to kill 20 workers. The entire natural mineral line of Zest went down as Zest is continuing to push through the middle of the map. The Mutalisks do get cleaned up, but is there enough here to clean up for Scarlet? It looks like there is. All the High Templar were turned into Archons.
The Stalkers are back in. The Stalkers are coming back in. These Archons are starting to get really, really low. And the Mutalisks have been cleared out. But yeah, Zest just does not want to overstay his welcome. He doesn't want to get too far in the belly of the beast, so to speak.
Yeah, now that the Zealots have rejoined with this army, I do think he maybe can try and apply pressure to one of these bases, but he's feeling unsure of himself. He does have 2 High Templar behind this with Storm, though.
Scarlet's getting Hive. Scarlet is getting Hive behind this, and Zest, he's down. How many workers is that? 11 workers. Not at all the position you want to be in a PvZ. And yeah, he's just playing very hesitant here, just trying to clear off creep and not really going into Sasha, Scarlet, which worries me a little bit for Zest.
Definitely.
There was definitely an opening there where Scarlet did not have, you know, her high-tech units, didn't have her Banelings or Hydras that
there was,
you know, Zest gonna push for.
There was definitely an opportunity there for Zest to push into the 5th base of Scarlet and maybe even kill it, especially with his army with those storms. Scarlet didn't really have enough to deny him that, but Zest was a little bit too tentative there. He was kind of skirting along the edges of the map. He wasn't too sure of himself, and that has allowed Scarlet to come back in. She has Hive on the way. She has her Spire, remember, so we can see a greater Spire on the way as well. And Scarlet, look at her supply.
She's
just reclaiming her position here, and there's the Greater Spire. Brood Lords will be the end game, and we'll even see if we get to that, as Scarlet, she's looking pretty good right now, but it kind of comes down to the storms.
I don't know, Zest hasn't really been Zest hasn't really been teching up behind this. As you said, storms, they're still very effective versus Sky Zerg, and especially versus this sort of Hydraling Bane composition. Zest trying to set up a harass over in the north side, and for the time being, it looks like Scarlet is just comfortable.
Yeah, I am very much so worried for Stats' army. And oh my god, all these Banelings, they're going to get into the 3rd base. They snuck around the main army.
But good splits coming out from Zest as he decides to push on through. This is a choke point here. A lot of storms can be utilized, but Zest has to notice it. The sandwich is coming in, and his Banelings do get in. I think we're about to see a 2-0 if Zest cannot go for a defense, so long as Scarlet has just so much momentum here.
Yeah, the Zealot Harass will impede Scarlet. It will keep Scarlet at home. The Great
Spire.
Yeah, the Greatest Spire went down.
Brood Lords are going to be made.
The 5th,
and this is actually huge.
The 3rd could go down.
Scarlet still has the momentum, but she has to realize now that she has what it takes. She has to realize that she can push on through, and you know, when you see this sort of run by, it can definitely stretch your attention. It definitely messes with your judgment.
Yeah, especially since Scarlet, she's not maxed out. She just lost her Greater Spire. She could be thinking that she doesn't have her end game scenario prepared anymore. So maybe she'd be a little bit more tentative about pushing out. And we'll see if she decides to go for the kill or if she gives Zest more time.
It's definitely a big if.
Right now,
Scarlet
she's just rotating back down. Zest is applying more pressure here.
Scarlet just with a complete 180 of game number 1. She is so cautious this time.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the opportunity that Zest needs. Like he's buying a lot of time with this harassment. He has a lot of High Templar. I do agree with you though that Zest, he hasn't really teched up beyond this Storm Archon Gateway army, and because of that, eventually the Broodlords will be able to take on Zest, no problem. But they are a ways away. Spire is about to finish up, then she has to make a greater Spire, then she has to morph Broodlords. Like, it's gonna take a long time to get to that.
And it will, and Zest is just, I don't know, I feel like Zest might have misread this. Alright, does back away once he sees a creep. Ken loses so many Templar! And if you look at Zest's gas bank, he cannot afford to keep losing those Templar.
Oh my god, and will this trigger Scarlett after seeing so many High Templar go down? Will she finally...
I think like it might. She is starting to posture here. Just look at the mini-map. Look at how much creep there is on the map.
She's taking her time. She doesn't want to go into like a bad engagement and potentially throw away her army. But finally she is looking to hit the 4th base of Zest. 3rd even.
Yeah, it manages to bust down this this gateway wall, and this opens up such an opening for the Banelings. We do see, oh no, the Banelings and the Zealots. 2 Banelings make it out of that engagement. R.I.P. in peace.
Nice there. The Banelings were actually able to catch the Zealots, so Zealots were looking to harass the 4th base and kill more workers there. Meanwhile, Scarlett, she does have control of the middle of the map. Again, though, she is giving Zest a lot of time, and Zest, he would have been...
Fire is almost finished.
Yeah, Zest was almost dead in the water.
Yeah, the army supplies are almost even at this point.
Exactly. Like, she's given him so much time to come back into this game. But I feel like because of the economy, Zest will have a hard time remaking. Oh my god.
Storm! But Scarlett does back away. Nicely done. Zest is gonna run out of money at some point, though. He has been on 4 bases for such a long time.
I don't
and part of it is because of creep spread.
Yeah, I don't see him getting a 5th anytime soon. And as we were talking, Broodlords have finished up for Scarlett. She finally has her end game units. It is a drop alert on the way as well. All
right, over there north. Oh, nice look for it, but he will end up losing a good number of those stalkers. Scarlett's just trading so efficiently, and the Broodlords are here. Like, the Broodlords are here, and Zest has no range.
He has no answer to the Broodlords. Like, his entire army is forced back because of them, and I don't see how Zest is going to be able to deal with this, as he's looking to try and go for a run by, but at the same time, Scarlett is hitting multiple places at once.
Yeah, being a little bit indecisive though, pulling back basically her entire army here to deal with the run by. Now Zest will be able to clear off this attack from Scarlett, but not before losing 27 probes.
Yeah, Zest lost so many probes there. At the same time,
I feel like it's now or never.
His Zealot run by did kill the upper corner base for Scarlett, so he has been able to deal some damage and pull her attention away a little bit, but
I feel like it might be now or never for Zest.
Yeah, it has to be. He has to pull the trigger. He has to try and do something with his army.
You can catch off these Broodlords.
Oh, some Broodlords are a little bit out of position.
A lot of Banelings are coming in. Good zoning with the Storm. But in the end, Scarlett just making the best use she can of this dead air.
Yeah.
Basically making the Broodlords untouchables. What does Zest even have that has range on the Broodlords? These stalkers, but it's ground to air.
He has storms.
Exactly.
That's what he has.
That's basically it. But some pretty good storms are coming in. Zest keep continuing to lose ground here. And here comes the 2nd wave of army coming in from Scarlett. And will she be able to do it? Zest is still clinging on. He knows that this is he cannot afford to lose this one series.
Yeah,
or this one match even.
Zest loses the majority of his army. Again, he's counterattacking with Zealots, and he does force Scarlett to defend her bases. But look at the supplies. Zest has lost so much.
The War Prism, hello?
There we go. War Prism does go down.
That has been taken out.
Infestors on the way for Scarlett. We have upgrades as well for the Infestors. I feel like she's just, ticking her T's, crossing her T's? Crossing her T's, dotting her I's, that's it. That's the term. That's what I was going for. Making sure she has the end game composition she needs, and This is it.
She doesn't even need it. GG. And Scarlett is gonna save us from another PvP finals, as we will have in the finals Scarlett in the top side and Stats on the lower side. Let's we're gonna wait for these players to finish their vetoes, and man, that was definitely a series, Light. This is probably the second time Scarlett has got yeeted Zest out of an ESL Pro Tour.
Yeah, her record against Zest has been actually like pretty good, especially compared to some of the other Protosses like Deer. But we'll see how that holds up, as I imagine Stats was watching that series.
Oh, he had to.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a big Crank fan as well. So like, I'm sure he was just watching Crank's stream. They do go back, and yeah. Here we have another ZvP. Thank you, Scarlett, for saving us from that PvP finals. We were a little bit worried that that's where this tournament was headed, Zest versus Stats, but yeah, solid run so far. Can she take it home?
Can she, or will Stats make his royal road? This is an exciting finals, Light.
Yeah. I do feel like
so many storylines are to be made.
I do feel like it's really impressive that Scarlett was able to tour Zest. It's arguable that you could say that Stats is maybe the better player.
I think it's confirmed that now.
Yeah. Like,
I think here's the thing: Zest is absolutely the better PvP player. But I feel like Stats is more well-rounded.
Yeah, you can definitely make that argument. It's
Zest is good at...
Go on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Zest is really good at series preparation and preparing against one specific opponent, but Stats, quite a bit more well-rounded.
Yeah, I think most people, when you look at Stats, you do think of him as more of the he has taken up that mantle that used to be like Rain back in the day. You know, he is the shield of the ire, you know, like he's the more macro Protoss, the more defensive Protoss that can kind of take games off of anyone. And yeah, we'll see how Scarlett fares against him.